Hello everyone, this is the video for the problem called Module 3 Stretch. It says write a program that asks the user for his or her name, then their favorite line from a Western movie. So as you can tell, there's not a lot of detail in there, and that's perfectly fine because when you start, just write the basic everything, to make sure that it will compile, and then just run it. And you can see exactly what is supposed to happen. So first thing we have is a what is your name? So we can just actually just grab that, see out. Oops, that's wrong. Didn't get it. Okay, what is your name? Question mark. And then we could go to CIN name. So that means we're going to have to define name. Alright, and let's say, well, howdy, comma, and then name, and then an exclamation mark and an endel. So let's give that a shot, see how that goes. Okay, so now we've passed the first problem, first line, right? And notice that I have not echoed the name out to the screen here. It just says, what is your name? And it takes the input and then says, well, howdy, Bill. So evidently Bill is the first name. You notice there's no Bill here in the program, of course. Okay, so then the next thing is, please tell me your favorite line from a Western. Let's see if I can just grab this. Okay, so there's that. And then the next thing we're going to have to do, well, let's just run that part, make sure that part works. Okay, now, this has been causing some trouble here. Everybody freaking out about this no new line at end of file thing. So really, you can do it a couple of different ways. If you want to, you can put this at the end. Now that's not always going to get rid of that because it still might not match the output file, right? What you're really looking at is what's supposed to happen here. All right, please tell me your favorite line from a Western. And then here is the data. Now, what's going on here is that there's no endel at the end of this line. So what we have to do is, now this won't work, but I'm going to show you what you might think of next, right? So we'll just call it line, and we'll say we have a second string called line, and then cout line endel. All right, so we'll run that. Okay, and then we see this, we see not, but there's no quote there, and that's something else we're going to have to deal with, but we're only seeing the first word. We're only seeing the first word because we've used this instead of getLine. So let's try running that. Okay, now, you see how this has got nothing there a minute ago. At least it had the word not. This is because, as I mentioned in the previous video, you're going to need to do CIN.IGNORE. And let's see how far we get with that. Okay, so now this is what it says, and this is what it's supposed to say. Alright, so note that there's quotation marks there. So let's put the quotation marks in. Now, in order to put quotation marks in, you have to put a slat, because you can't, because a quotation mark is delimited by quotation, or a string is delimited by quotation marks. So you're going to if you just put this in there, it would just freak it out, right? So the way that you indicate quotation marks is by putting a slash quotation mark in there. So let's see here. Let's see if that gets us closer. Okay, so now the only thing we're missing is, oh, that's a good one. So we can just grab that. Of course, you would have to type it, but let's try running that. Okay, now we have this extra end line in here that we put in there earlier. So we'll take it out. And everything passed. So the takeaways from this is to remember about the CIN.IGNORE if you use the CIN redirect operator, this thing right here, and then you're going to use a get line, you're going to need one of these in between. And so that was in the previous video. And then the other thing is that if you want to put quotation marks in a quoted string, you have to precede it with this slash character. Okay, so once it's passed, then you want to submit it, and then you're all through.